Hello, YouTube. This is BUB'S Comics coming at you. We have the No Faces comic chat this Monday evening. This is Labor Day 2018. Obviously, because this show is going to go on for many, many, many decades to come, and there'll be so many Labor Days that we'll do this chat. So I just want to go ahead and mention it's 2018 Labor Day. You're welcome, YouTube. We got the No Faces comic chat. And tonight we are, hey, DS, why don't you go ahead and tell us who we are tonight? Explain to us who we are.
All right. Well, tonight we are the back issue bargain bin busters. And I almost thought I was in the wrong chat for a minute because I certainly don't find any back issues because I don't go to any bargain bins. And so I'm not busting them. But I think it definitely is applicable to you, Bub, and you, Metarog. But I just, I don't know. I'm not a bargain bin buster, but I do like some back issues. So I don't know. I'm going to go with it.
Well, say hi, Roger.
Hi, Roger.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Hi. Greetings, everyone.
Well, DS, so this is interesting that since you've brought this up, since you have such an aversion to such things. So I do I like to do a little fast math in my head, and my wife is heavy into math and what she does. So, we're always kind of looking around and trying to figure out how people are getting their money, right?
Yes.
So we're not counting other people's money necessarily, but we love to count other people's debt to profit ratio. So that's super enjoyable for us. A little bit of nerd love on that. So what happens is that when you show all these books that you flip to CGC, right?
Yes.
So they're always such amazing high grade books. So my hypothesis was that you must be one heck of a bargain bin hunter. I say he must really just troll through those dollar bins, finding the absolute most pristine copies of them in order to be able to flip them at like the 30, whatever the book costs plus $30. But if it only sells for like 40 or 60 bucks, then you're almost losing money unless you paid like $1 for that comic. So if you're not busting bargain bins, how are you getting these pristine comics at a low enough price that it still makes good financial sense to flip them through CGC?
All right, so here's what I do, and when you see my CGC unboxings, and I throw out all those 9.8s that come out of that, and I flip them, and at this point I always am able to double my total income into that CGC package, but it takes me a while because I don't hit a lot of bargain bins or dollar bins or LCSs or anything like that, but occasionally I will hit an LCS wherever I might be out of town or whatever. I check a lot of thrift stores, Craigslist, and honestly eBay. I think there's a lot of people who are sort of opposed to eBay. They think everything is overpriced. You can find really awesome deals on eBay for books to flip. And I have terminology I've developed that I basically just use for myself and whoever's interested in listening. So I'll throw it out there now. I look for books that have the widest spread possible. And what I call the spread is the difference between a high-grade raw and a high-grade slabbed copy of a book. And a good example, one that I flip all the time, is like an ASM 328. It's the McFarlane Grey Hulk cover. Even if you're paying top dollar for high-grade raws on eBay, you can find them for 10 or 12 bucks. 9.8s of that slabbed go for over 100. So there's a big spread. There's over $100 spread between raw 9.8 and graded 9.8. This system only works because I have a lot of experience, and I didn't make money when I initially started to try this out, but I've honed my system and my grading skills for high grade books. That it only works if you can identify 9.8 candidates and get a high percentage of 9.8s back from CGC. But I'll look through bargain bins. I go to thrift stores, antique stores. And I went to one about a week or 10 days ago, and they had a bookcase stacked with books in there for $1 each. And there must have been, I don't know, a couple thousand books. I sat there for a good amount of time and went through every single book they had there. And I think I only pulled out maybe 2 that I thought were worthy to buy. So I spent all those hours, looked at a bunch of cool books. I enjoyed it. There's other stuff there. I know the owners. And so it was a decent thing to do. I had fun and I picked out a couple books. So it takes me a while to build up a stack that's worth sending to CGC. But so yeah, that's what I do. I try to find books that have a really nice spread between raw and slabbed prices. And I search for those on eBay, Craigslist, LCSs, antique stores, thrift stores, what have you.
So when you're buying them online, how do you find out just how high the grade is if it's not slabbed? Or you just, because a lot of times when I look at the pictures of the eBay listings, it's very hard to pull out the difference between a 9.2 and a 9.8 on an eBay listing. So how do you manage that?
Yeah, on eBay listings, there's a couple things you have to do. One is you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to pass up on a lot of books that seemingly are good offers, or good deals. But essentially, you need to have good, high-quality photos of the front cover and the back cover. If you just have that on modern books, and I generally target like Copper Age, from anywhere from like 84 to like 93, and that range is the best. If they have good quality pictures of the front and back that I can tell, that's generally enough. And really for modern books, there's not going to be a lot of issues other than some spine ticks and the corners. You're not usually going to run into staining or stuff on the interior pages. I think 90% of these books have never been opened, honestly. So yeah, if you see a book, like if I'm looking at, ASM 328, for example, on eBay, and it's got really good pictures of the front and back cover, and I can see that there's no spine ticks and the corners are sharp and the edges are sharp, and I'll check the buyer or the seller's feedback, and it's within a price that I think is reasonable, I'll take a chance on it and I'll buy it. And then, it's not always a home run, but most of the time it's pretty good. And I always will contact the seller and ask them to ship it in a box, which sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But, as long as it arrives safely, usually you can identify Copper Age up into the early 90s pretty well with good photos on eBay. And a lot of those books have, I'll stay away from books that have covers that are very busy, like a New Mutants 98. That's not something that's cheap anyway, but it's got a busy cover, especially by the spine, or like a Spectacular Spider-Man 90. Those are tough to tell because of the patterns on the covers. But if you get something like, ASM 300 or like, I don't know, I have like this Swamp Thing I have showing in my picture, that would be a tough one to pick out because of all the trees on the lower half along the spine. So certain books are hard to tell, and some have nice solid colors along the spine. ASM 301 is a good one because the front cover is white and the back cover is black, so you can easily identify any damage on the spine through photos with that book.
Wow. That's great knowledge you're dropping there. It's funny. I'm wondering these things, but it's only because I guessed wrong that I'm asking the question, right? Because I was thinking, well, he's got to be digging through bargain bins, because how do you know a high grade unless you're holding it in your hand? For me, I've been burned a lot on eBay on trying to get grades, trying to guess at grades when they're not a high-res scan. Sometimes you go on an eBay listing and they don't even have, like, you can't even expand the picture at all. It's so low res that you just have to stare at your screen harder or get closer to it to even see the picture.
Yeah, and if I see something like that, I pass it up. If they don't have a picture of the back cover, I pass it up. If it's a blurry photo, I pass it up. If it's dark, if there's anything. But, there's millions of listings on eBay, and I've got a list of books that I target specifically to flip, and I'll search through them on eBay and out in the wild as well, but specifically we're talking about eBay, I guess now. I'll every once in a while do a search and I'll look at all those books, and I'll generally search for like ASM 328 high grade or ASM 328 NM for near mint. That's usually how people will list it, and then usually only, I don't know, 15 to 20% of those are worth looking at, and out of those, most of the time I don't find one that's even worth buying, but sometimes you do. And sometimes I'll find one and I'll go see what else the seller has, and he'll have other stuff on my target list, and I can buy a bunch from that seller and combine shipping. Sometimes people have multiple copies. You got to look when somebody has something they're selling, scroll down and look at the info. Sometimes it says quantity 4 available. Ask the seller if you have 4 copies that are all in this condition, and they say, yes, I'll buy all 4 of them. And it lowers my cost per book on those. But I try to keep my cost per book, under $10, and then with grading, and I do the quick press with CGC, I'm usually into it between 30 and 35 per book. So most 9.8s from the Copper Age are $100 at a minimum, and some are more. So usually I'm able to double my money and keep some for my collection. So it works. I just do it a few times a year because it takes me so long to build up a good stack of 9.8 candidates to send in, because I'm not busting a lot of dollar bins all the time. It's just, it takes me a while. So it's maybe 2 or 3 times a year I do this.
Well, plus CGC is going to add a 90-day turnaround to that no matter what, plus another week to get it listed on eBay. So,
yeah, I don't really worry about the turnaround. I don't fast track anything. Whenever I get it back is when I get it back, and that's when I'll sell stuff and make some money. You know, I'll be collecting comics and shopping for my PC next year, 5 years from now, 6 months from now. So whenever I get those back from CGC is when I will sell them and have money to go buy something for myself.
Cool. That sounds good.
That's like a clinical approach there to shopping eBay for profit. I mean, literally, you could write a book on that, DS.
Oh, you have to.
I mean,
well, I appreciate it. This is the most expansive explanation I've ever given of it. I've never really done anything on my channel going over this. I don't know how much interest there is in following my system. And at first I failed and I had to hone my system over time. But I've got it down pretty well. The last CGC package I sent in, I was into it total with the cost of the books, all the shipping and the grading and pressing and everything for $725. And I sold everything for $1460. And I kept 5 of the 9.8s for myself. So doubled my money and got 5 free slabs. That was my most recent one.
You know that it's that song, right? You get your money for nothing and your books for free.
I love it. Yes, I've heard you say that before.
Yeah,
that's alternate lyrics there, but yeah.
Oh, I've got half a song rewritten on that, Roger.
I'm sure you got the whole thing. I'm sure.
You want to hear how it opens?
Okay.
All right, you ready? It goes, I want my CGC.
Well, that was pretty good. Excellent.
Wow.
Now you just need to do a little computer program with some visuals where it shows you a computer digital image of you stepping out of the chair and flying through the screen.
Oh, I pay money to see that. I would pay big money to see that one.
That'd be great to do all that and then have YouTube yank it down like 3 seconds for copyright infringement.
Yeah, they would. Somebody got a copyright infringement. They were doing a video and had music playing in the background, and it got taken down.
Dang.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I tell you, the only thing that would happen to it before YouTube brought it down is that my one troll would have it already thumbs down before before YouTube had a chance to remove it.
Yeah, they would be the one to report you about the music.
Probably.
I think they have some kind of algorithm for that. That's actually not most of it's not reported by people, because I tell you, some are down as little as 2 minutes later. I was literally watching a video and it went like copyright, whatever. It said, this is taken down in your country, whatever.
Yeah, I think Comic Sniper, I think it was his channel. He had a video that he put up and I went to watch it soon after it was posted and it already said this has been removed by YouTube for copyright strike or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you get strikes. You get enough of those and they'll freeze your channel.
Yeah.
Be in YouTube jail for a while. I only had one happen to me. I played some background music for Alfred 83 Comics Juicy Covers Contest.
Mm-hmm.
And I played Tony Braxton, You're Making Me High. And I played that all through the background. And as soon as I uploaded it, it got taken down by YouTube. So it wasn't, I swear, it maybe never even got uploaded. It was so fast. It came right back down. So,
yeah.
They're pretty sharp. Hey, we got a huge live chat today.
Yeah, we do.
A bunch of great people in here. I'm not shouting out anybody in particular. Roger can usually do a pretty fast roll call.
Well, we got Daz in here. We got Rayman. We got James JPL Flash. We got Lindsay, Comic Geek McD. We got Silver Age Dave. The Geeks are here. Tats in here.
Nice.
We also, I see Iron Basis was here earlier. I mean, just a great guys. You guys are awesome. 17 in the chat. You guys are just killing it tonight, man.
Hit that thumbs up button and drown out the troll.
There you go.
Is Silver still in the chat?
I don't know. He was in here a few minutes ago. Oh, here we got Pages, Fills, and Plastics.
Oh,
from
wow,
Puerto Rico.
Nice.
Oh, ¿cómo estamos, mi amigo? ¿Cómo está allá en Puerto Rico? ¿Cómo están las cosas allá abajo?
You know, Roger, there's a chance he's just on vacation.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's very true.
Ask him where the library is.
Dave is on.
¿Dónde es la biblioteca?
What? Library? What is going to say go to library? I didn't say anything about library.
Because it's like Spanish 101, right? Probably everybody knows that. How do you get to the library? Hey, Silver. I don't know if Silver's listening or watching or both.
Yeah,
but
he's on there. Yeah.
Talking about busting dollar bins, I don't know if you've seen this one. So this is Blazing Battle Action with Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. Silver's son, one of his sons is named Gabriel. So he collects this cover, but not this exact cover. See, this is Blazing Battle Action 151, but actually Sergeant Fury, I think it's 54 or so. 56 has this original cover, but it's like blue in the background instead of red.
Right.
So when I saw this comic, I picked it up for Silver, and I figured I'd send it to him. And then I realized it was like the reprint version. But then I thought, well, maybe he doesn't have it. So if you're in the chat still, Silver, if you see this and you want it, just let me know, and it's yours. But if you've got 1,500 of them, then I'll send them to someone else, and I'll tell them Silver sent it. So
he probably doesn't even know if he has it.
He only knows he needs another one, right?
He's got three locations. Even he can't be in three places at once. Even a runner like him can't be in 3 places at once, can he? My God.
We'll find out.
Wow. Yeah, that is he showed that he got that at the when he was showing that the comic book store in Chicago, or just outside of Chicago.
Yeah, and he had picked up some was it raw unpublished, or what do you call those when the cover isn't sent out, like raw artwork, I guess?
Draft cover work? Proof? Is it the cover proof?
Yeah, proof. Yeah, the cover proof. He had picked up that cover proof on eBay too. He was real happy about. So I did pretty good.
Yeah,
awesome, guys.
That's finding a needle in a haystack there. That he found that one exact cover proof. Real tough.
Be looking for it. Oh man. Well, I didn't really have any major topics this week. Thought we'd probably keep it pretty short, being Labor Day and all. But one thing I wanted to ask is, what kind of projects you got going on? I've got like 4 projects, comic projects, if you will, all at once going on. You guys have anything like that going on?
Well, I can tell you what I'm working on right now. I guess it's a project. It's just I'm going to Baltimore Comic-Con the end of this month. So my project is to build up some cash, and then I have a few books I'm targeting to hopefully be able to pick one of those up there. So what I've done is I've gone through my collection and pulled out some books to sell, and I've thrown them up on eBay to generate some cash. And I also recently sold a book that ended up being an excellent investment. I bought it a couple years ago for about $400, and I just sold it this week for $1,750, and that was ASM 301 in a 9.8. That's not even a key. It's just McFarlane cover. Just not a lot of them in 9.8, and there's collectors out there that are trying to collect the entire ASM run in super high grade, and there's more people that want it than there are of those out there. So the price of that has just been skyrocketing the last couple of years. So I figured I would just flip that because I'm just trying to collect superhero keys. And I couldn't justify having, over $1,700 tied up in that book when I'm going to a con and trying to buy, maybe a nice golden age key or something. So that's what I'm working on right now. And I'm trying to, my target for the con is to have like 2,000 to 2,500 to work with. So that should buy at least one super awesome book.
Where are you at now, and how far do you have to the con?
The con is, I think, September 29th. That weekend, 28th, 29th, somewhere around there. So what is that, like 4 weeks away?
3 weeks? 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Almost 4. Yeah.
All right, between 3 and 4 weeks. So, yeah, I mean, I got a nice a buck off that ASM 301, so that's a good start. And then I've got about 9 books for sale on eBay right now. I've got some cash. So, yeah, I should have close to 2,500 for the con. So that's the project I'm working on. And the other thing as part of that is I'm trying not to look at auctions or eBay because stuff comes up and I can't pass it up, and then I buy it. And so I'm just trying to limit what I'm looking at because I'm not trying to buy anything between now and then.
Well, it'd be good to stay off any kind of extra social medias like Instagram or Facebook or any of that stuff too.
Yeah, I'm failing in that regard. I'm not staying off any of it. I just can't stay away. I'm like, well, let me just look at everybody else's stuff, and I won't buy anything. And then everybody has such awesome collections and books out there of all kinds. And then I'm like, oh, let me go see how much I can find one of those for, and I'll go research something. And then I can't stay away.
Wow. I know how that is. And people are starting to get me interested in their collecting styles. Like some people like instant messaging me on Instagram and saying, hey, I collect this kind of stuff. What do you collect? And just trying to get to know other collectors. And some of their, when I look at it for myself for the first time in a comic shop or a bin of some kind, then I'm like, yeah, that's nice. Must be for somebody else. But then when they explain what they like about it, and you're like, oh, wow, that is beautiful. I need that. I'm going to go get one right now.
Right. Sometimes I don't like something very much, and I'm just like, it's all right. And then I hear why somebody else likes it so much, and I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. You're right. I do like it that much too now. And you get to see it when somebody else gives their perspective on something. You totally dig the way they like it, and it brings out a new beauty to the piece of art that you hadn't realized. And as somebody who loves comics, we all can appreciate the beauty of these works of art. And then when you get somebody else's perspective on it, sometimes that fires that spark in you that you start seeing it in a new way, and you really grow to love it. And that's happened with a lot of books for me.
That's cool.
Totally agree. The more I see, and then I learn a little nugget or an appearance, and I'm like, oh, then then once again I have a list, and I start targeting. Like today, One-Legged Books, Chris showed this really awesome collector's preview cap and an ash can.
Oh yeah,
right. And that's like that's the perfect storm for me, because you're talking about cap, you're talking about an ash can, and it is a 75 cent, but really it's like a promo book. It's almost like an advanced copy, but it has like little sections of art, and it's only in white, red, and blue. So it's a very unique type of comic book. It's not the full color palette. So I'm like, oh, I got to target that thing. So now, my voluminous list just gets that much bigger.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That sounds really cool. I've never even heard of that, but anything that's ash can, or like only a few of them out there in certain colors, or black and white editions, especially like true ash cans, that stuff is unique oddities, and they're super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris is in the chat. Of course, I'm glad you like the cap. Well, he knows I was going to like it. Chris, you don't fool me. I was going to like that.
So as you guys know, I try to keep it entertaining, but also informative. So when terminology like ash can gets thrown out there, and that's overused and misused in several ways. DS or Roger, I don't care which one, explain for the chat what an ash can is and some of the differences between them. Because sometimes people call something an ash can and it's absolutely not, but it's in the style of. So go ahead, either one of you, I don't care.
Yeah, the one that Chris showed is not a real ash can per se. They called it that because it's not a complete comic book. It's sort of the original ash cans were actually, well, the DC ash cans. DS, you probably know more about this than I do, but they were done to hold copyright. So they would make a mock-up of a certain comic because they either heard or they didn't want another publisher to be ahead of them on the copyright front. In other words, so that they wouldn't have license to use that character going forward. So they would put something real quick together, usually black and white, usually just, sometimes even photocopied. They'd throw it into the patent or the copyright office, wherever the publisher was, and that would hold, they would then have rights to that character over anybody else. And then essentially I heard the reason they call them ash can is that, since it wasn't a real comic book, they would just sort of throw it away. It wasn't something they were going to publish. It was just something to hold copyright.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't. I mean, you know more about ash cans than I do. I think I've heard something to that degree, but I also thought that sometimes ash cans were produced to send to retailers as an example of, hey, this is what we have. Are you interested in this? Or like a sort of a preview out there to retailers or publishing houses as sort of a mock-up, and here's what we have, and are you interested, sort of thing. But right. I don't know a whole lot of ash cans about ash cans. That's
probably not quite an ash can. I have one of those, and I'll show you that in a minute. You know, again, there may not be a strict definition for them, right? Because there some of the original DC ash cans, they're only one known copy, and some have no known copies. So they weren't made to be preserved. They were just made for a certain. They were just geared for a certain, very, very focused reason, and that was to hold copyright. So sometimes the interior of the ash can is just a reprint of a previous comic. But the title, for example, if you look at the DC ash cans, there are some titles that, you know, that have covers from other comics like Action Comics, etc. But it'll say stuff like Thrilling or whatever, because they just wanted to get that name copyrighted. That's it.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I don't have any ash cans, and I've never collected them or really researched them too much. So that's excellent information. I wasn't really aware of that stuff.
Well, if you did have an ash can, it's one of a very few people who had them, because they're very rare, very rare.
Yeah, so I would feel that some of those ash cans were perhaps distributed, or if they had a decent sized print run of them, they would just go ahead and give them to shops in order to entice them to continue to buy as kind of a promotional item. And then from there, they may have got into the hands of collectors. So, I mean, I would doubt that they just went ahead and threw them all out. I'm sure that they would give some of them away as they created them, just to, you know, offload them and make a few shops happy, get them to buy, give them to the sales team.
Yeah, I know there's one ash can. It's probably still on eBay, and it has a listed price of $1 million. And it is it's a Flash 1, Golden Age Flash #1 ash can. So that's a one of a kind. That it's been on eBay for a while. I sometimes just search for what's the most expensive thing on eBay just for the hell of it, and that always comes up. It's been coming up for a while. $1 million he wants for a Flash 1 ash can from like 1941 or something.
If I recall correctly, there are less than 5 known copies of that ash can.
So okay, yeah, it's super rare.
That's why it's just that rare. Okay, this is more like this is from the 80s, 90s, right? But this is more of what the preview that you're talking about. But it does have some similarities to ash cans. But this is not the whole copyright. This is exactly what you said, Diaz. It's something that they put together, and they kind of wanted to see what the retailers, you know, thought about it before in case they need to do any tweaks or changes, etc. Right? But the insides are all like mimeographed. I don't know if you can see that, but see that yep. Top line, how it's like really like there's not a consistent color,
right?
Because it's a mimeographed. It's just, you know, from the proof.
That's amazing.
Okay, and these are not unique. There are probably, you know, 100 or so of these that they sent out.
Well, it's still pretty rare. If there's only 100 of those, that's got to be a sort of a sought-after item for collectors, especially of oddities.
Yeah, some people do seek them out, but nothing like an ash can, like from the Golden Age, nothing like that.
Well, Metarog, go check out, when we're done with the chat here at some point, check out that Flash 1 ash can, and just be curious to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I do know a collector that has several of them. And well, let me just tell you this quick story. Sometime back, and I'm not going to name names, and I'll tell you why.
It wasn't me.
Sometime back, I got contacted by an executive in DC Comics. Okay, and because 10 years ago, I had discovered a few promos and things like that nobody knew about, and so he contacted me because he wanted one of my copies, obviously, which I sent to him. Now I regret that I did, and he said, "Hey, listen, in the DC archives, I'm the archivist guy, and I'm supposed to have a copy of all these things, and we're missing a bunch of stuff, you know." So he's trying to buy this off eBay and off collectors because, they're supposed to have a copy of everything. And he told me that they're missing most of those ash cans. He said somebody in DC sold them or took them or something them, So he wanted to know if I knew anybody who had any. And I go, I only know one guy. And so I told him who it was, and but he wouldn't. This guy would not let it go. He has a complete DC collection since even pre-DC, even the All Americans and all that. So, but that is how I got to know about the DC and the vault and all that stuff, and the fact that they do not have all those ash cans in there.
But they want them, apparently.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Roger, you and I tend to collect a lot of the same stuff, it seems like, or at least we like the odd stuff, the novelties. I'll show one off real quick. This is a excuse me. This is a 1998 Marvel Regional Retailer Workshop. So this is like what got handed out to, like, they would have a meeting, a gathering, and then they would hand this out to everyone that was there to review while they were there. And it's got a catalog in it, which is full color and it's pretty cool. Then it's got the whole agenda and everything that they went through during that time. And that's pretty neat too. And, just not anything but it's got some pages in there that are, I don't know if you can see that are from the proofs of the books that are upcoming. Just reproductions, but you can see all the line notes and the things that, the cutouts, unfinished work. So it's pretty cool.
What year is that from, Bob?
1998.
Oh, okay.
And then they have some of this, letters to the retailers. And then what I really, a couple of things about the new artists they had, and it's Joe Quesada in there too. But I really like some of this stuff, which are the questionnaires and polls and the tabulated data from that they say that they've come up with. And it's kind of a rationale as to why they were doing certain books, and explaining kind of to the retailer why they went in that direction. So I really enjoy stuff like that. No one's ever contacted me to ask for my archival information, but if they do, I'll direct them to you as my agent. That'd be all right.
Yeah, they also gave out exclusive trade paperbacks I don't know about the regional ones, but I know that the Diamond exclusive ones, they gave out trade paperbacks that were only given out at those. Was that from a distributor or was that from Marvel? That what you're talking about there?
This was from a conference, so they would hold a retailer conference directly from Marvel. Would hold the retailer
that's directly
conference
from Marvel. Okay. Right.
Yeah, directly from Marvel, because most of the information in here focuses on direct sales.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because the ones that were run by the distributors, I'll show you a few things. They gave out a similar packet, but it was all based on because remember back in the late 80s, you still had Capital Distribution that was competed with Diamond. And so they had, when Diamond started doing their retailer summits, they would have everybody come over. And so in order to sort of sweeten the pot, they would give out free stuff to the retailers for attending. And one of them are these exclusive trade paperbacks, which nowadays are kind of tough to find. So I thought maybe you had, but the Marvel did it a little differently. They did give out, though, the if that was an era where they had the stock certificates, they would give out what essentially the stock
ownership report. Yeah. This doesn't have that in there.
Well, they might have given out separately, or maybe they didn't even give it out that time. Who knows? Because that was regional.
I found this at a shop that had just changed hands. So the shop was being bought by another shop, and it was a kind of a liquidation buy. It was bought at a discount, but then the guy had a payment to make on the shop, so he was liquidating all the prior stock of the shop in order just to make payments for the new shop, right? The shop that he was now going to own. So he had all kinds of stuff, and I kind of introduced myself and said, let me just look around through the stuff. And I was digging through a bunch of stuff, and I found 2 of these. And I probably should have got both of them, but I picked the one that was in better condition, made sure it was complete and had everything in it, and then I went ahead and bought it. I think I paid $5 for it, so I was real happy about that.
Yeah, that's pretty rare. I've only seen 1 or 2 of those ever. So.
Cool.
Probably should have picked up the other one, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know, every time I walk away from a comic shop and I don't own the comic shop, I have regrets. So that happens.
Well, I was going to show you, for example, this here. Sorry. This here is the Capital collection.
Oh, nice.
And that is that before, yeah.
You've seen that before, right, Dean?
I mean, I haven't seen like in my hands, but I've seen pictures of it when researching like Spawn unique items. I think I've seen that before, yeah.
And that was given out, I think it was 19. Let me see. And you'll like this, all you Todd McFarlane guys out there.
Yeah, both of you.
Because it is signed by the big man himself, right there.
Oh, wow.
But all of them came signed, by the way. That's how they were given out. But it's
not a printed signature, though, right? It's a handwritten signature.
No, so that's a marker. Counts. That's a red marker.
Yeah, that counts.
And it's limited to 1,200 copies, as you can see there.
Mm-hmm.
And notice the Capital logo. This is before they went out of business. And I think there's a Cerebus ad back there. I'm trying to find the year here. 1993, right in that corner. Okay. Nice. And again, this was only available if you attended that retailer conference. Now, after that, obviously they took them back to the comic shops and they sold them. And so they're probably about a few hundred around at this point.
Surely.
Yeah, I'll tell you, with the Spawn, I see a lot of odd, unique items associated with the Spawn title. And I don't know, there's got to be more associated with that title than pretty much any others in modern times. There's so many Spawn incentives and rare little odd, unique gems associated with the Spawn title. That's a cool one there. I'm sure there's collectors that try to collect all that stuff.
Well, I think I have a complete collection of the retailer exclusives. Now, this is not retailer like the the ones they sent to the comic shop. This is the one you had to go to the actual retailer summit. Okay. The ones that went to the comic shops are those are RRPs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are a little different. Let me show you another one, like this one here. That's a diamond. Now, note if you see here, you can see that's a diamond exclusive distributor, right? And that's a reprint of the first 5 issues of the regular Spider-Man issue. But it does reprint the covers also, by the way. All these reprint the covers as well as the interiors.
That's neat.
So
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Just to show you a little bit of the I did make a video on this way back when I started, which nobody saw, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, if somebody wants to steal it before ahead of time, that's fine. But my idea for my next contest giveaway is real simple. It's just going to be put a link to a video that you've done in the past that you feel should be watched. A link of your favorite video that just didn't get the views it should have got.
Right.
And actually, I've got quite a bit of a stack up. I might do it when I hit 400. I'm close. I'm like 380 something.
Yeah, you're almost there, right?
Yeah, I think so. Or 370 something. I don't know. I'm close to 4. So when I hit 4, I'll probably offer that up as a contest. And if somebody does it first, I don't care because I just want to watch all those videos.
All right, we got some more guys in here. We got AG Surfer. Hey, welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
That's Tat's brother, right?
I don't know if they're related.
I thought it was. I guess not.
Maybe they are. And I think I saw Count Von Strange in here somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I saw somebody in there.
The eyesight is, when you get to a certain age.
Yeah, Count Von Strange the 4th is there. Yep.
Yeah, there he is. Hey, how you doing,
Has
Cal?
the Key Chaser, One-Legged Books. Yeah, we're all over it.
Silver Age Dave. Yeah, of course, he's in there. He just ran 50 miles this morning, and here he is on the chat. That's Dave.
And it happens.
Well, it doesn't happen to me. Let me tell you that right off the bat.
Well, you probably don't forget your phone at the grocery store as often as he does.
Oh, that's a good one. You have to be a runner then, right?
Yeah, you gotta get back there. You can't even call for help.
Oh my gosh.
DS, you were talking about some of your flipping methodology and how you sell books and target books. I'll show some of these. These are some books that I picked up to flip. So I won't get much out of them, but I have hardly anything in them. So I'll double my money, and then of course I kept out a selection of books. I usually do best with I don't flip slabs. There's hardly any money in it for me to do that. I don't have a CGC membership, so I do have some CGC books, but it's only ones that I've picked up, in other ways, not because I slabbed them myself. So like this is a really, for its time, it's a pretty decent graded Flash 176. I won't embarrass myself by giving it a grade live, but it's a mid to high grade
I think
copy.
that would be either the last or of Carmine Infantino's run. I think he did up to 175 or 176. So that's either the last of his or the first of the new cover artist.
It's the last. So this is the Infantino run. Well, part of it. Here's 163. This one, or 163. Here is 171. Also Infantino. There's Infantino. And then this is the one that's probably going to command the most money. It's pretty good copy of that book. And it's got the Rogues Gallery up top. And that's 174. And that's an Infantino as well. I'm pretty sure that's an Infantino book. He has a very distinctive signature, and I don't see it on there. So
I think 175 was Infantino's last book.
Yeah,
it was right around there. Yeah, it was right around there.
Because at one point I was working on doing a whole Infantino run of the Flash, and I gave up on that run pretty early because I just got interested in other stuff and moved on and sold my Flash collection off. But yeah, those Flashes, those will sell well, Bub. If you're looking to flip those, people will buy up Flash, and they have good value, especially in high grade. Anything below the 200s is you get pretty good prices on those. They're pretty popular books, I think.
Yeah, I tend to stick with any book that is under 50 cents as a potential flip book for me. Once the price is at 50 cents or above, I usually just don't fool with it because I want to have at least more than my money in it to get back out of it. I tend to flip to LCSs and dealers like that, so I don't really flip to private collectors very often. So most of the time, I'll if I have a book like this and I know that there's somebody collecting a lot of Flash out there, I'll hit them up first and I'll give them first crack at it, and I'll sell it to them for the same price I would get from the LCS. So if the LCS will pay me somewhere around 40% of the retail value, then my goal is to pay 20% of the retail value or less. And if I can get a book that is less than 20% of the retail value, I flip it for 40%. That's kind of how I work. So, and then if I find a private collector who wants them, then I'm just as happy to sell it to the private collector for the same price. So they can get it for 40% of whatever the going rate is. Here's a nice date stamped Action Comics. It's got May 26, 1971. That's pretty neat. I like that. The hostage must die. So that's the one I'll flip. It's Action Comics 402. If you can get those Action Comics under 500, you're usually doing pretty good. They're they sell fast. Here's Shadow 4. These are all books that I'll be selling probably tomorrow.
Oh, Kaluta.
Oh yeah.
Goodness.
As the artist, yeah. Here's Human Fly number 19. Somebody showed Human Fly number 1, I think, just today. I saw somebody had one.
Yeah, that's
and then
that's kind of an infamous 19-issue run there with Robin's art in there, which was like, ugh, I didn't like it.
Yeah, the Bob Layton, right?
Well, that Leighton is okay, but when you're talking about Robbins, he went loosey goosey on there and in Invaders a little bit. His Golden Age stuff is pretty, or older stuff is okay, but man, I don't know what happened to him there. Everybody looks like they're sweating and falling apart.
Maybe he was.
Maybe.
And anything Fantastic Four usually sells if I can stay under 200. Anything under a 200 run, there's Fantastic Four 178, 172. Pretty neat. I love the floating heads in that. Here's 187. Another pretty cool one with Claw there.
Perez cover.
Oh, yeah. And then we got Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. You'd be surprised. People actually still do collect those, but I usually don't get as much for these. That's number 97. Here's number 86. Anytime you can get something under 20 cents, like a 12-cent or a 10-cent comic, those pretty sell. This slipped in there. I already have
killed me with that one before, Bub.
I know. I have two of these, so I kept the higher grade one, which they were pretty much identical. So I'm letting go of that one. That one doesn't go for very much. Probably a $10 book at best. And then I'll get 4 for it, and I'm sure I paid 1, so that works. There's Battlestar Galactica number 2. So funny thing about Battlestar Galactica is that there's some serious collectors for Battlestar Galactica out there.
Really?
Absolutely. There's guys who, yeah. If you ever see like a Facebook auction with Battlestar Galactica on it, most of the time the collector, if you find one, right, if one pops up, they'll say, "I'll take that and any others you have. Send me the invoice and I'll pay it." And you're like, "Oh, really?" They're like, "Yes, I'll buy them all." And I guess they're either going to sell the difference or give them away or who knows what, but they're just trying to get all of them. So for some reason, there's some pretty hardcore collectors on that title. It's always odd to me how that happens.
Yeah, that's a good hit. I saw a bunch of those in a $1 bin the other day. I'm gonna go get them.
Well, if you can, they have to be in good condition. I mean, this one is like beautiful.
Yeah, nobody wanted them in the $1
center. Well, it's one of those properties that constantly gets rebooted.
Yeah.
So you never know when it's finally going to reboot and take off. So maybe people are speculating on them. I don't know. But a lot of times this is actually a title that I do tend to get slabbed. I'll get Battlestar Galactica number 1 whenever I come across it. I'll get it slabbed, and it fetches a decent price. At least you can give it to a shop for a decent price, and they can resell it for who knows what. Right. And then there's a little Death of Superman trade that I picked up. That's another $10 book. So in the end, most of these I'll get about anywhere from $4 to $8 a piece for them. But I have less than half that in them, so it kind of works out. And then I also keep out whatever I wanted to keep out from the stacks, the lots that I buy, and I'll sell the difference. So that's my ongoing project, as always.
Oh, that's a good way to build your collection for next to nothing.
Oh, it's nothing. Build it for free, and then I also get paid. And when I get my money from it, I use that. Like I'm going to a con at the end of the month. Actually, I'm going in 2 weeks. So I'll use that for the wall books, the bigger books that I know I'm not going to get a great price on anyway. So I just need to go ahead and spend the money. So that's what I do for that. So what kind of projects you got going on, Roger?
Well, I have several actually. I'm working. Well, I lost a bunch of videos, so I have to redo them. But yeah, boo. Yeah, everybody, boo hoo for Roger for Metarog. Okay, so.
I mean, when if you said you lost 3 videos, we already know that's over 2 hours and 75 minutes of content. So
you're not far from the truth there, but let me tell you that, man. This is the thing. I remodeled my kitchen, so I knew for a week and a half I wasn't going to be able to, shoot videos really. So I compressed, my usual timeline and shot double the amount of videos that I would normally shoot and had them on the phone. The first darn day that I'm going to start uploading those videos, the phone dies. So anyway, enough boo-hooing here. I got my Marvel value stamp video, which I'm actually working on I'm actually researching a little bit still on that one. So that's probably a few months away. I did I thought a real nice video on all the different comic formats, from magazine, treasury, square bound, perfect bound, etc.
Wow.
And I thought that was a great video. And now I'm like, oh, I forgot what books I used. I forgot what I said, everything. Anyway.
Oh, that's one of the ones you lost?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that stinks.
Boo, yeah. I redid Daz's contest. I put that out today. I'm also working on James had a live stream yesterday, I think it was, JPL Flash.
Yeah.
And he wanted to see, I have 30 years of Legion of Superheroes, so he said he wanted to see that, so I'm starting to pull those out. And I also have a couple surprise videos, which I'm not going to say about what they're about yet. But, and I'm going to have another reveal. My display is going to change every month, so I'm going to have a reveal for that probably in a week or so. And then I have my every subscriber shout out video coming out in a couple of weeks, and another Metarog Chronicle coming out probably in about 2 weeks too.
Man, that's a lot of content.
That is a lot of content. That's an impressive lineup of content. Even with the videos you've lost, you've got tons of work to do and awesome stuff to put out. So
yeah, I did do the Metarog Chronicles on that phone already, but I'll redo it, no problem.
I'm sure you remember everything you said.
I haven't the slightest idea what I said. Not the slightest idea, but that's okay. It'll, all my videos are just one shot deals. I don't like edit, or I don't it's just like what you see is what happens.
Well, as long as you're not lying, it should be pretty easy to reproduce, right?
Yeah.
Liars have to have better memories.
Yeah, it's not lying. It's just age catching up to me, and I forget things that happened in the recent past.
Well, neat. I've got just a little bit going on for me. There's a couple of different projects I've been working on. One is I've been working on this. When I first started collecting, I was collecting these trading cards, Wolverine from then till now, and they're pretty neat. This is when I was a kid, so this is the only thing I have really from when I was a kid and collecting things. I have several copies of this, completed. The first one I didn't complete it when I was a kid. I completed it like as an adult. It's the first thing I bought at a con was a set of these. I was only missing 3 cards from when I was a kid, but these cards here, I like them pretty well, and it turns out that all the art from them on the cover, and they have a little like art in the back, that those all come from comics.
Yep.
So what I'm doing is I'm matching them up, and there's no database or anything like that. So I'm creating one in order to, I've looked everywhere. You'd think it'd be somewhere. So I'm matching it up. So I think I've mentioned this before, but I've got pretty far on it. I've already done like 20. Hold on. I'll show you an example of one. So here's one I've already done, right? So you can see that this is Marvel Comics Presents number 72.
I see Deathlock. I see Deathlock.
That's not Deathlock.
That's not Deathlock?
No. That's the skull there. It looks like Deathlock. And so then that was the cover photo, the front cover. So the first half of the project will be to match all of the front cards with the corresponding books that they go in. And then the second half of the project will take another set of these cards and match the back picture up to the books that they go in. It's really tough because they're not all covers. The ones that are covers are a lot easier, but there's lots that are just interior pages or splash pages on the inside. And those you just kind of have to read the books and then find them and go, oh, that's one of those. Fortunately, I have a date range for them because it can only be the ones that were printed in a Wolverine-related book up until the printing of the cards. So that narrows it down to, 15 years or so. So that's a little easier than just guessing throughout the entire pantheon of Wolverine comics. So that's good. Working on that. What else? I've got a big wall remodel to do. So this whole front wall here, or this whole wall here that I've got is going to get redone. I have a slab hanging there, and I just don't like it. It's very dangerous. I feel like it's going to fall any minute. So I'm going to get some of those slab mounts that I've seen. I'm not 100% sold on them. I think they look nice, but I just don't like that they're plastic. And I feel like anything that kind of rigid plastic is probably going to break eventually. It's going to snap. You know, you're leaving it in place, and it's just cheap. It's really, really cheap plastic, you know.
You can get like a little shelf with a lip and put it on there.
I thought about that too. I do want it pretty well secured on there as best I could. So those are cheap. So I'm going to start off with those and kind of test them out, see how I like them. And they also hold top loaders like this is in. And then they also hold, you know, raw comics too, if you wanted to, you know, quadruple board them or something. Yeah. So I'm going to do that. So that I've actually got all those coming tomorrow. And then I also picked up some of those Ultra Pro one-touch magnetic, like slab your own kits.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of reviews on them over time. I didn't care for the what are those other slabs? Comic skins. I didn't care for the comic skin slabs. I think they look kind of cheap, and I don't like that they have a black border. I think they're ugly and cheap. So this just holds the comic in place. It doesn't, and it has a small border at the top above the comic, of course. And it just holds a regular bag and board you put in there, and it secures it in there. So I picked up a couple of those. I'm gonna test run those out. Maybe do a little review video on that. Other than that, that's about all I've got going on. And of course, the booking for the No Faces comic chat, which is a constant job. So,
well, that goes without saying. That's an important task, to be sure.
I know it gets harder and harder because the more videos you put out, the less people want to talk to you, Roger. I've been trying to get people to sign up, but
I think you're in a state of denial there, Bub. I think that the opposite is true. Notice DS is being quiet. He hasn't said anything because he's
doing laundry.
Everybody likes DS. He's not controversial. He's very, you know, just steady as a rock, very logical, very, you know, he's just, you know, you and me are the messes here. So, you know.
Well, I appreciate listening to the comic projects because I don't have a comic room. I've just got a comic area in where we currently live. So I don't have any of these cool projects going on. So my projects are just like things I'm searching out for, things I'm selling, things I'm trying to buy, you know, lists of books that I'm trying to pick up. But I don't have, you know, any cool projects like that going on outside of just buying and selling right now. So
do you have like any sets that you're going to be thinking of wanting to complete?
Well, I'm going to put out, all right, so I'll tell you, I guess these are projects, these are upcoming videos, so I'll tell you about a couple of the upcoming videos I have coming out. Okay. And this is probably like the next 30 to 45 days or whatever, but I've completed a full run of Charlton's The Thing, which is my favorite pre-code horror series from the 50s. So when I get the remaining few back from CGC, I'll do a video going over the entire title of The Thing. I've got the hardcover collections of those in reprint so that I can read them. And, you know, I'll go over each book, talk about some of the art, some of the stories, show the books, obviously, and then we'll do a census count, see how rare they are, how available some of them are, and go over that. So that's like a video project that I have coming up when I get those back. Other than that, I'm probably going to put together a list of my, like a top 10 want list for L.B. Cole books, Golden Age artist. I really only have a handful of books by him, and some of them are super expensive and hard to find, but I'm going to put together a realistic top 10 want list.
Realistic top 10.
Yeah, realistic top 10. I mean, he worked on the cover, I think, with Alex Schoenberg for Suspense 3. I think they did the cover together.
Yeah,
that's, you know, $100,000 or
yeah,
more.
That's forget it.
So that would be my top want of all comics ever. Would be Suspense Comics #3. More than an Action 1, more than a Detective 27. That would be my top all-time grail. But I'm not going to put that on the list.
You never know.
Yeah, I mean it's on my list, but I'm not going to put it on that list. But,
you know what I always say: you aim for the stars, and you might hit your head in a cloud.
That's good advice. That's good advice. And then the other list I'm putting together is top 10, a want list of top 10 pre-code horror covers. And that would be horror-themed books only from like 1947 to 1954. and just top iconic pre-code horror covers. And I actually got a pretty good start on those top 10. I went through, and I'm having the problem with that is I'm having a tough time narrowing it down to just 10. So I may end up doing the top 12 because there's just so much awesome stuff out there. So yeah, those are 3 golden age related sort of comic videos that I'll be doing in the near future. So those are the only projects, YouTube projects, and just buying and selling and collecting.
Well, that sounds pretty good to me. That sounds like pretty good projects there. I mean, and if you need any help with LB Cole covers, let me know, because I'm a freak for those covers. But but I don't know about the affordable ones. I don't even know if there are any affordable ones at this point.
There's one that I'm really after. I'm so mad. So the quick story on that was that there was one that I was looking at picking up. It was an eBay find. It was an LB Cole cover, and it had it was 3D. I think it's 3D Exotic Beauties is the name of it. And y'all know I like my lady covers.
Oh,
so,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and this one is absolutely fantastic. It's a mesmerizing, beautiful cover. I absolutely love it. And the seller had it for 30, and I was like, and I've only they're findable, but this one appeared to be a very, very good grade for this book. So I said, and it still had the original glasses too, because it's a 3D book on the inside. And I said, man, I really want that. And I tend to collect 3D books anyway. So I contacted the seller, and he had got it down to like 25. And he was like, any more than that, and you're going to have to buy a bunch of books in bulk, like 25 books. And he had a deal in his store where if you bought 25 books, then you would get 20% off. So I was like, okay, well, that's cool. So I went to his store and I looked through all the books, and he had a ton of books that I wanted. I mean, a ton. And I said, wow, man. So I waited on the LB Cole book, and instead I loaded up just trying to get kind of to 25, right? And I loaded up $80 worth of comics after the 20% off. So about $100 worth of comics for $80. And I was very, very happy with that. And I went ahead and checked out, and I forgot to put the LB Cole book in there. So, so I was like, oh, man. Oh. So then I contacted the guy, and he was like, well, I'll still do it for 25. I was like, man, I really want it for 20. And he was like, well, that would have been more than 20% off anyway, so forget it. I was like, fine. And then like a week later, he sold it for 20. I don't know who to, but it wasn't to me. So I'm a little salty about that book right now, but I still want it.
Yeah, I know the book you're talking about. That's a cool little like more modern LB Cole cover, and you can find that. I would hold out. You can find a near mint copy of that probably for like 10 or 15 bucks on eBay at some point. That's an item that I would want just because it's a nice little sort of LB Cole item to have, but I'm not going to pay 20 bucks for that either. I mean, I would probably just pay 10 or 15 for it, and if you wait, they'll pop up. I mean, there's a lot of those out there, and they're not so desirable that you're going to have to pay too much for that. There's a couple of new things he knew. I mean, I think he passed in 1981. So later on in his life, he did a couple cool items.
Actually, it was in the 90s. It was in the 90s.
Was it in the 90s?
Early 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know the dates off the top of my head, but he did a couple things that stand out. That one, which is the 3D Exotic Beauties, he did the cover for one of the Overstreet price guides. It's a really kick-ass cover.
Oh, yeah, one with the devil with the skull.
Yeah.
Right?
It reminds me of sort of like a vintage. It's got a lot of elements on there from like vintage cigar and liquor ads from like the 1920s and 30s. Cool. It's really cool cover to that Overstreet price guide. And I've been looking for an affordable hardcover copy of that that's in reasonable condition, and I haven't found one yet. He did. There was something else he did. I can't remember what it's called, The Dead or the Undead #1, a comic book, and it's just got a cool like a decaying corpse on the front. I can't remember the title, but it's a really cool cover, and those are just newer, cheaper, cool little LB Cole items to keep an eye out for.
Yeah,
I will.
His stuff is just it's so amazing. I mean, the colors and he never does just a simple cover. Everything is just it's so glaringly busy but in all the best way possible. His startling terror stuff, or in his what is that, Blue Bolt DS, the
Yeah, Blue Bolt, when they changed over to Blue Bolt Weird Tales, he did
right.
big run
That
of
stuff
those.
is, I mean, there is not
Catman covers too.
one little blank space in those covers. Everything is just detailed, just amazing stuff.
Well, he has such a range of skill too, because he does the horror comics, and then he does these psychedelic sort of like blacklight posters, which whenever I think of that style of his, I think of Mask 1 and Mask 2, that two-book series in the 40s, and that's classic blacklight poster style LB Cole. And then he does the really, like you're talking, the really crowded, creepy, completely full busy covers like the Blue Bolt Weird Tales, you know, the Strange Terrors of the Jungle, those type of things.
Yeah, the Startling Terror. Oh man.
Well, yeah, then he did the Startling Terror Tales. He also did some cool, just iconic, simpler, but really just iconic covers from the 40s on Suspense Comics. I love that run of Suspense Comics. And then he also did some stuff way outside of these genres, where he did like frisky animals and like children's stuff, with like circus scenes and animals, like kitty stuff, like Looney Tunes style books. And he did a whole bunch of those, and those are really cool too. And it's a totally different style. It's just like happy cartoons, and quite a range.
Oh, I was going to tell Bub that there's a series of reprints. I forgot what they're called now, but there's a series of reprints that reprints a lot of LB Cole covers, like White Rider, and some Blue Bolt. You know what it is, DS? There was a reprints that came in the I want to say the 60s.
There's a picture of the price guide. Who's showing that, Bub?
Yeah, I've got that up.
Yeah, that's the price guide I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't remember the names of the reprints. I don't typically buy reprints, so I know what you're talking about. I've seen them, but I don't know enough about them because I never really researched.
I'm just saying that that's a cheaper way of picking up some of his covers.
Yeah, then he also did a lot of like World War II stuff, which is cool. Like this Captain Flight comics I have showing. He did like Arrow comics, stuff we were talking about before we went live. Captain Arrow, Contact comics, Flight comics, Captain Flight comics, some cool World War II.
The Contact comics that he did with all the fighting.
A lot of airplanes and air warfare covers. Really cool World War II stuff. So yeah, he's probably my favorite artist. It's either him or Alex Schoenberg, but I don't currently own anything by Alex Schoenberg, so it's hard for me to judge that because I don't have any in hand. But I've got a good, a handful of LB Cole stuff. So I'm going to say LB Cole's my favorite artist right now, but Schoenberg is up there as well. Those two.
Well, you can't go wrong with Eric, buddy. You can't go wrong with that list there. No way.
Yeah, you're winning on that all day.
Oh, I'll take the crummiest any of those two. I'll take them.
Right. Well, Schoenberg seems to be more expensive than LB Cole, and there's less of it out there. I think honestly, there's less Schoenberg stuff out there than there is Cole stuff, and it seems to be more expensive. I think a lot of his stuff is earlier, and a lot of it's superhero themed.
There you go. Yeah.
But he has some really cool airbrushed covers, which are very unique. But the Marvel Mystery Comics, Captain America, Human Torch themed stuff, Young Allies, Bucky and Toro stuff. Schoenberg has a lot of stuff like that appeals to Golden Age collectors and superhero collectors. So that stuff is pricier than a lot of the LB Cole stuff.
Dr. Von Tilla says he'll sell his very fine Catman 31 for $1,300.
Well, Dr. Von Chilla, I may hit you up to talk about that because that's is a cool book. And in that condition,
that's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's nice, yeah.
That's not bad. And what, Dr. Von Chilla, that's money in the bank. That's there's nobody with that there's nobody that I would trust more than Dr. Von Chilla when it comes to the high dollar books.
Yeah, that Catman series has a lot of cool LB Cole titles or covers in it too. I don't know off the top of my head which 131 is, but I will definitely be looking it up because I don't have any of those. There's another artist that did some of the earlier Catman covers, and I can't remember who it was.
Is 31 the one with the shark? That, like, I think Catman's wrestling a shark. Is that maybe the one I'm thinking about? I'm not sure.
Hopefully, Dr. Von Chill will throw in the chat which one.
Dr. Von Chill, which one is it? Yeah, which one is it? Because I'm trying to remember.
Jeez, he says he only paid 10 for it in 1990. That's insane.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, that's killer.
You're killing me, Doctor. You're killing me.
There's that one Catman cover that is one of like the all-time Cole Grails for me, and I can't remember the number of it off the top of my head. But it's okay. The one where he's surrounded by the wolves. Yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah. Oh man, love that
he's
one.
got one. It's like a voodoo witch doctor with all these skulls in front of him and a candle burning, and he's got like a top hat on with a bunch of necklaces. I can't remember the number on that one, but that's a Catman issue, and that's probably the most desirable LB Cole Catman cover.
Oh yeah, the one with the wolves, of course, the one with the black background, right? And the yellow wolves around them. Yeah. Oh, that would be fabulous.
Awesome. For only 13? What a bargain.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Right, let's see for those of you in the chat.
Broke, so, yeah.
There's the cover we're talking about.
Let me see.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep, that's it.
Number 31 10-cent cover. Man, that is tough.
Oh man, that's
beautiful.
beautiful.
The guy in the back's got the noose and everything, and all the wolves around.
Yeah, there's
and
no
I really
way
like
out.
LB's signature too. I think it's so classy.
It is,
and I like that you can actually read it. It's very clear, you know.
Yeah, he liked those characters with hats. I noticed he did a lot of that in Suspense and Catman and all that.
That's pretty cool.
That was kind of one of those things that LB Cole did when he did people. He liked to do those mysterious guys in hats, top hats, and fedoras and things.
Yeah, well, the Suspense comics has that character in the black suit and cloak with the black hat on, and LB Cole draws him on those Suspense comics, and that's his name is Mr. Nobody, and he's a really like shady sort of character.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, he does an excellent rendition of that guy. It's just talking about a guy with a hat that he's got like a black suit and a black cape and a black top hat.
Yeah, I've seen him. I didn't know that was his name, but yeah, I've seen the character before.
Here's the comic that I'm hunting after.
Oh my god!
You guys know what that looks like? That's absolutely beautiful. That looks fantastic.
Is that LB Cole?
Yeah, that's an LB Cole cover.
Yeah, that's one from the '80s that he did.
Wow!
You can see his signature on the lower right there underneath.
I can't see because on my phone it has a little array of videos down here, and I can't see the bottom.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. It's one of those comics that after I saw it, I just keep going back and looking at it over and over again. I'm like, man, I've got to own that comic, but I just get something stuck in my head, and I don't want to spend, I don't want to spend more than 20 for it, and I want to get it in excellent condition, and I want to get it with the glasses. So a lot with the original glasses, and a lot of the ones that you see online, they don't specify whether they have the glasses or not. So you have to message the seller and wait. Sometimes they don't even respond. And you're like, oh, come on, I want to buy that, but I'm not going to buy it unless it's got the glasses. So it gets tougher. Oh well.
Wow.
I'll drool over it later.
That probably had the 3D glasses attached to the inside, and that's a newer book. I bet you a lot of them are still attached. So you got a good chance of finding one with still intact 3D glasses, as opposed to the older 3D stuff from the 50s.
Yeah, I have one that has the glasses in it, and the other one they put some kind of fake glasses in it.
Yeah, when I try to, there's a couple 3D books that I have that I searched for. And they're both from the 50s. It was a Superman 3D Adventures of Superman, and I have a 3D Adventures of Batman. And I located both of those complete copies, but I could not find either one with glasses that were intact. But I was able to locate the original 3D glasses for each of those books to put them with that. So I have complete books, but to find anything back then with the glasses intact is impossible. I searched high and low and was able to find loose ones, but
yeah, I think I may have already picked it up, or I can't remember if I did, but there was a Popeye 3D one and a Dick Tracy 3D that I found. I'm not sure if I already bought them and they're on the way, or if I haven't bought them yet. So that kind of happens sometimes.
I got this one here. Oh, hold on, let me get rid of my Fast Willie Jackson. I thought we were talking about flipping stuff. I got this one here, and nice. Yeah, it's no big deal, right? 3D jet pup, but
oh yeah, with the original, and they're drawn on. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. I like, because a lot of times the glasses did come with either a different design, or there'd be something drawn or written on them. They weren't all just generic glasses.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can, if you research it, you can tell that what's original, like this one here. They tried to fool me, but it didn't work, of course. So I got it much cheaper. So this one here, right? The cadets, get it? Cadets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But again, generic. These are not the original glasses, not even close.
Oh yeah.
It had cadets up here. And anyway.
Yeah, so these are the two 3Ds I have. Oh, you still going, Metarog? I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't expect anybody has more than a few cool old ones, but I've got these two, and these are only two 3D ones I have. I've got the 3D Adventures of Batman and 3D Adventures of Superman. They're both in decent condition, and you can see. Let's switch over so I can make sure it's just showing up. All right, so here's the Superman glasses.
Nice. See, isn't that cool? It's got Superman on it.
Yeah, it's got a Superman drawn on it. Copyright 1953.
Can you flip that around, DS?
Yeah, sorry. All right.
Awesome.
So
yeah, that's them.
Superman goggles. Yeah,
Yep,
and even lists left eye, right eye, and it's got a little drawing of Superman. So yeah, they're cool. And these glasses are in good condition. And I bought a ratty copy of this book with these good condition glasses to go along with this good condition book that didn't have the glasses. The other one is even cooler because this has got.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's the one I've been looking for. I can't find that one with glasses
3D.
Intact.
And this one, all right, so this one is a little less condition because it was in a piece of cardboard that was like perforated and it was popped out, so you can see around the edge where it was sort of popped out around the dotted line.
Yeah. That's okay for me though, because I would still pop it out of the dotted line if I got it in full mint. I would still pop out the glasses so I could use them to watch it. So that's cool. I got no problem with that.
both of the glasses I have for these are in really good condition, and the books are mid-grade. So yeah, these are nice nice books. I don't have too many oddities anymore, but I've held on to these. I really like them.
Those are cool. Really cool.
I love them. Those are beautiful, DS. Here's two that I've got that I like. Not near as cool as yours. There's California Raisins 3D. I just love that book.
Oh, that's a cool 80s one.
That is.
You should see too inside that book with the glasses. It trip you out, man. And here is 3D Alien Terror, probably my favorite 3D book. And it's just a cool kind of 70s. It just screams it. It's so cheesy and risque, alien risque, and just great stuff. And the Eclipse comics, they kind of skirted that line quite a bit. So, and it did come with these don't have the glasses, and these did, and that's one of the reasons that I just leave them in the centerfold. But that's when I started collecting the 3D comics and realizing that some of them didn't have it in there, and I decided I wasn't going to buy any more that were missing the glasses. So unless like you did, if I could find them and marry them up, I'd be totally cool with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, for newer ones, I've had a couple newer ones in the past. I had, I can't remember, but when I bought them, they all had a substitute pair of 3D glasses in them from the 80s. And so I never had the new ones with the original glasses, but I think they're much easier to find because when I was into that, I was sort of searching and I would find a lot of those that were intact. As opposed to when I started looking for these Superman and Batman ones, it's impossible, literally impossible to find a copy of these with the glasses intact. I mean, I think I saw one CGC copy of one of these at one point, and they were intact because they had a blue label. So I'm just assuming they're intact because CGC won't give you a blue label if the glasses are detached.
Right. Well, what do they call it? Incomplete?
Well, it'll be
qualified.
Well, there's been a couple. They're not consistent, and I've talked to CGC a couple times about it. It'll be a qualified grade if they're missing, and sometimes if you have them married or detached, like I have them, what they've told me is that don't even send them the glasses because they're not going to put them in the book. They will just attach them, just put them separately in the bag, send them back, and you'll get a qualified label. But there have been times they've graded these books with somebody had the glasses married, but they just taped them onto the inside cover, and then they'll give it a blue label that that says glasses reattached with tape. So yeah, I mean, these aren't the type of things that I'm going to grade anyway. I don't grade oddities like this. So I don't grade everything, but so I'm not going to get these slabbed. But I was curious at one point, so I talked to CGC a few times, and I don't think they have real consistency when it comes to this 3D glass issue. So I don't know.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing that, because I absolutely love those two books. I've never seen them in person. I've seen them online a couple of times to buy them. I just haven't, and they're not horrifically unaffordable, but they're hard to find with the glasses. And I just hadn't pulled the trigger yet, because I'm waiting for a pair with glasses that are affordable. And, you know, with the novelty stuff, it tends to fall off the top of my list very quickly. Like, there's always something else I'm looking for ahead of that to spend the bigger money on. So when the novelties get to be pretty expensive, there's usually other things I'm looking to get.
Ted, yeah, you got some really cool stuff, man, with those General Electric promos, those 3Ds. You got some really cool stuff, man.
Well, I used to have a lot more. I kept just some of the stuff that I thought was just a little higher end, or just I liked a little better when I cleaned out my collection, several years ago. Those GE ones, I just kept the high grade ones and got rid of the rest. So I have more than I have now. But like I said, I'll trade those to you. If you want to come up with something in trade, I'm down to give those to you. I'm happy to part with those for something else that's that I would appreciate more.
Believe me, I'm hunting through every estate sale within 100 miles. If there's any 50s comics, I'm getting them for you.
Yeah, if you find any pre-code horror book, essentially that's complete and presentable to any degree, like a complete 2.0 of a pre-code horror book, I'll send you all those for that.
I told you I just missed out on a bunch of 50s books, last month.
Yeah, you did.
I'm so depressed about that. I actually emailed DS because I needed some intervention, So I said, only you would understand.
I did, yeah. That gave me anxiety listening to that story too.
But I needed to vent, and I couldn't think of anybody but you, DS, at the time. So I'm sorry for that. But it wasn't. It wasn't. It was only like the ECs were all the new direction ones. There wasn't any horror stuff or anything like that I could see. But it was so deep. Who knows what was down there?
I mean, when you have something like that, and it's that stuff that's that old, you just need one gem in there. I have some books that I have in the pre-code horror range that are in low condition and not super valuable, but they're super cool, and you just never see them. And if you come across something like that, some of those things you just never see anywhere.
So close, 10 seconds away. I missed it.
Right.
It hurts. It hurts bad.
Yeah, these two 3D books I have that everybody in the chat has seen, and you guys, if anybody's interested in buying these, don't be discouraged. Like, oh, those are old. These are available, and they're really not that expensive. I mean, you could pick up both of these for under $200 in mid-grade condition. The glasses is the tough part. Sometimes one will come with glasses, and sometimes it won't, and sometimes the glasses are in rat condition. But the books themselves, if you want to get a start on owning both of these, if anyone's interested, you can pick up both of these books. They're not hard to find, super hard to find, and you can get them in mid-grade condition for under $200 for both. So, but they're cool to have, and it's nice to have. The glasses are the best part of these, honestly.
Yeah, you're right. Those are always, even for the two I got, which I got because they were those were the only 3D comics from that. Those were the only those comic books are the only comics ever done by those publishers that I showed.
Yeah. And
I find that kind of odd. So I started researching it but I could not, I have never been able to find that Cadet 3D glasses. Never.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Some of you see like 3D Dolly from the 50s, like Harvey file copies. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those out there, all near mint condition. But the ones you show, I've never even seen that one.
Well, they're just obscure. I mean, they're, nobody knows about them, which is the definition of obscurity.
Right.
So nobody puts them out. I found those like 15 years ago at a show, but no, I've never seen them. I have seen the Jet Pup, but I've never seen the Cadet with the glasses.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's cool. I like collecting all those, and the quality of them can vary quite a bit as far as the 3D quality when you're wearing glasses and looking at them to see the different publishers, the method that they use to produce the 3D effect. Some of them are amazing, and some of them are when you're like, no, this is terrible.
Yeah, the ones I have are terrible. Everything looks like it's like elongated, you know.
It's all warped.
It's really horrible.
That's why this is one of my favorites. I think that of all the 3D comics that I've even seen, I think this has the best effect.
Look what DS is putting up there. Look what he's putting up there.
I was trying to distract from the chat. I was just throwing up some new imagery for next time.
Man, look at that.
All right, guys, let's call it. Everyone's got to get on eBay and your favorite retailers, online retailers, and buy all these great comics. It's just been one of those nights.
Man.
Nothing but great stuff flying up here.
Gee.
Oh, those are beautiful.
Oh, yeah, so that's Mr. Nobody there on that.
That's Mr. Nobody, yeah.
And then this is just one of those psychedelic swirl spiral covers. He actually did this cover I have, Shocking Mystery 51. These are both LB Cole, obviously. The Shocking Mystery is sort of an homage to Suspense number 9, which is the book right after this in that title.
Right.
So the Startling Terror Tales, he did an homage to this, and then the Shocking Mystery, he did an homage to number 9. So I need to get Suspense number 9 to go along with this, and I already have Startling Terror Tales 11 to go along with Suspense 8. So, yeah, just take some time and some money to find these things.
Cool.
Yikes stuff.
Love it.
Dr. Von Chilla's got to go. It looks like everybody's got to head out anyways.
Yeah, we're all going to head out. So thank you all for another great comic chat. We didn't have a guest this week because I didn't want to really overbook for the weekend. We had one that we thought maybe would show up. It was kind of a loose invitation, but didn't work out. So we'll have him on again. But just want to say thank you to everybody for joining us tonight, and a happy Labor Day to anyone stateside, and to all our international viewers. Go to bed. It's like 2 a.m. wherever you're at. So
yeah, James says it's 1:30 a.m. here. He's staying up for us.
Awesome. Well, all right, everybody. We'll end it here, and catch us on the replay. And if you're watching on the replay, thanks for catching this episode. And we'll be back next Monday with another edition of the No Faces Comic Chat. And maybe we'll let DS Comic pick the name for next week. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I'll leave it up to him. So it's just going to be me and him next week, right?
Let's hear some DS alliteration.
All right, I'll come up with something.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks again, and we'll catch you all next week. Good night.
All right, see you next time.
Night, everybody. God bless.